Stop trashing, smearing, bullying the little state of Israel. Stop cozying up to and telling us that the enemy regime in Iran is now more rational, more moderate, and a regime that we can deal with.
Welcome back, friends. Thanks so much for clicking play. That was everyone's favorite Zionist, Mark Levin, which is a little bit like saying everybody's favorite tumor or canker sore or parasite. And in this one, with Sam Anthony, the founder of Your News, we're going to talk about America's greatest ally, that tiny state in the Middle East, whose relationship with America reminds me of a really sick, twisted relationship between a man and a woman, a husband and wife, where the wife is constantly trying to poison the husband, where the wife is constantly cheating on the husband and breaking basic vows in the marriage, only to then tell her husband, if you ever leave me, I'll kill you. That's America's greatest ally in a nutshell, Rothschild's Israel. Friends, we're going to tear them a new one in this one, and before we start, just a quick word about a very valued sponsor. So guys, I've been telling you about my 72-hour fast, and my friends were telling me you got to drink 3 bottles of water every day, not 16-ounce bottles, the 32-ouncers. So I turned to Native Hydrate, which stands out of the crowd. It's a 39-in-1 electrolyte and amino acid formula. Now, most people know they need to drink a lot of water and a lot more than they do. But after age 50, your body's water reserves drop, and without the right electrolytes and amino acids to hold fluid in your cells, you'll feel fatigued, foggy, and cramped no matter how much you drink, especially if you try a fast. U.S. Army researchers discovered that for older Americans, the optimal hydration formula isn't high-sodium sports drinks. It's amino acids combined with low-sodium electrolytes. And that's exactly what Native Hydrate delivers. 3,000 milligrams of amino acids, key electrolytes, and only 200 milligrams of sodium per serving. Just the right levels for everyday use. It's available in mixed berry, peach, mango, and tangerine, only has 5 calories per serving, and there's no artificial dyes. This is the hydration you need. For my special offer plus free shipping, head to nativehydrate.com/SGT. That's nativehydrate.com/SGT. You can try it risk-free with a 365-day money-back guarantee. The link is below this video. Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a restful weekend in these times of tumult. And the times of tumult are not over yet, friends, because as we're going to recount at the beginning of the broadcast, actually my focus of most of this broadcast is going to be bringing to light the fact that Israel is not only not our best ally, it might be our worst enemy. In fact, an enemy to humanity. And somebody got it right. His name was J.D. Vance when he warned the Israelis, look, there's only one world leader left who will put up with you, and it's Donald J. Trump. The rest of the world has had quite enough. Guys, by the way, our friend Liz Churchill over on X notes, these 6 major media outlets have refused to report on DNI Tulsi Gabbard's declassification, which proves Tony Fauci was part of the cover-up and part of the mastermind behind the COVID pandemic. ABC News, CNN, CBS quote-unquote news, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, MSNBC, and the New York Times. Should probably throw the Washington Post into that briar patch as well. Sam Anthony, the founder and president of YourNews.com, is back. Sam, how are you?
Good, Sean. Good to be here.
Good to see you. We are going to start at the top of the show by just showing folks what we're talking about when we mention YourNews.com. Guys, you are the news now, and if you don't believe that, well, sign up and become a journalist in your neck of the woods. Real journalism is welcomed at YourNews.com. We're going to come back to that. Meanwhile, when the markets closed on Friday after a big rally, there was a peace deal between the United States and Iran, a memorandum of understanding, but guess what? Just like they will continue to do, Israel has sabotaged the peace with an unrelenting strike, a bombing in Lebanon. Here's our friend Mike Adams, who says, Israel is now holding the entire world hostage by continuing its malicious war of genocide and conquest against its neighbors. The entire world should condemn Israel, cut off all diplomatic ties, and end all trade with Israel for a period of 40 years to let them wander in the desert and contemplate the depths of their evil. Because the Hormuz letter notes on X, breaking, Iran says the strait will now remain fully closed even if the U.S. fulfills all remaining M.O.U. commitments, including the $300 billion reconstruction fund, money that would have done well to help we the people in the United States, the release of frozen assets, the naval blockade removal, and oil sanction waivers. All of this will matter not until Israel stops bombing Lebanon and its neighbors. And in 1 second, I want to play this clip from Sean Ryan about the Israeli war crime state. But I'm going to come back to Sam. Sam, don't you find it fascinating that Donald J. Trump and the powers that be will celebrate these peace deals running into a market close, and then we find out over the weekend that it's all been blown apart? I wonder how markets will react on Monday.
Well, how do you think they're going to react? I mean, it's like a roller coaster. So one day there's a peace deal, the next day there's not. The oil goes up, oil goes down. So it's just the world we're living in at this moment in time. I mean, I'm always optimistic, Sean. So I do believe at some point in time this is all going to be over. The question is when. That's all.
Well, I have news to that end. More threats coming directly from powerful people in Israel saying, hey, you know what? The United States might just need another Pearl Harbor or 9/11 style event to remind them who their best buddy is in the Middle East. Meanwhile, I want to play this clip from Sean Ryan. He's teasing his new interview with Candace Owens, and he's reading a statement here that I want everybody to listen to very carefully. The statement is from Ben-Gvir. He's the Israeli Minister of National Security, and the same Ben-Gvir who is celebrating the very notion of putting all Palestinian prisoners held in Israel to death in the coming weeks. Here's Sean Ryan.
This is the Israeli Minister of National Security. Have you read this shit? Let me read it to you. For every terror of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. With all due respect to the Americans, Israel must make it clear to the entire world that the blood of our sons and the security of our citizens are not forfeit. All of Lebanon must burn. Our supreme duty is to protect the citizens of Israel and the soldiers of the IDF, and this commitment takes precedence over every other consideration. I told the Prime Minister, even in our private meetings, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese must weep. Enough with the ping pong. In the Middle East, you don't win with measured responses and restraint. You need to go berserk, to obliterate, to crush the terror.
That's a fire-breathing dragon right there. She's a fire-breathing dragon, let me tell you, Candace Owens. She knows where the bodies are buried, and she knows the true history of the state of Israel, the Bolshevik Revolution, and the Bolsheviks, which are now entrenched in our own government. I hate to tell you, she said it herself. So Candace and Sean Ryan, we very much look forward to that interview. And I just got to say, for the record, Sam Anthony, it does feel like that there is one player on the world stage that's just ruining it for everybody. And they bragged about it in that 60 Minutes interview. The world is our stage. We can pretty much do what we want. We are the actors. We are the producers.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
That was Mossad on 60 Minutes, Sam Anthony.
Well, now that they have Trump backing them, I mean, now they feel like they're invincible, right?
I don't know about that, because Trump is now kind of trying to pull away because he realizes the writing on the wall is not good for we the people and our economy. Just prior to reopening the straits with this quote unquote peace deal, Sam, he admitted we were 4 weeks away from running out of oil in this country. He admitted that. So, I mean, the situation's getting pretty dire. And for those who don't believe it, let me just share this. By the way, Lily Gaddis claims her X account was hacked. And, given her response to this statement that went out on her X account, I think maybe she's right. Maybe she really was hacked because she's really trying to defend her character and her integrity here. This tweet went out, I think on Friday. Candace Owens' family reached out to me earlier this morning. It is with deep sadness and sorrow that I'm sharing the passing of my longtime friend and fellow political commentator, Candace. But I also can't shake the feeling that this wasn't simply a random tragedy. There are circumstances surrounding Candace's death, especially after Charlie's passing, that raise serious questions, and I hope the full truth comes to light. I want to respect her family's privacy, so I will refrain from sharing any other details. Please stay posted. Now, let's assume Lily didn't post this and her ex account was hacked. Sam Anthony, pretty much any way you cut it, that's a threat.
Well, that would be a threat. The question is, I mean, can she get back into her account? Was it hacked so she couldn't get back in, or somebody else just hacked it? I mean, this is the real question. Because, yeah, that is a threat. It's basically saying if it hasn't happened now, it could be happening very soon.
Well, and I think that is the threat. I think Israel would very much like to see Candace Owens dead, but Israel would like to see everybody dead at this point, including Christians in Lebanon. And as Alex Jones notes, Trump tells Israel's leadership to stop bombing Lebanon, and Benjamin Netanyahu instantly responds by carpet bombing Christians in southern Lebanon to kill the Iran peace deal and to take the land. I just don't know what to say anymore, Sam Anthony. Does Israel have the right to defend itself? Sure. Does it have the right to bomb men, women, and children in apartment buildings on a daily basis? Hell no. It absolutely does not. I'm filibustering here, Sam. Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, listen, I don't think they have the right to be blowing up people's houses and their apartment buildings. I mean, that's completely unnecessary. I certainly don't know the details, but why are they bombing them to begin with?
For the Greater Israel Project, Sam. Come on, brother, get with the program.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to support Israel and its ever-expanding desire for more and more land. Mike Huckabee said it. It would be fine if they take it all. They could just take it all.
Christian Zionism. I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Well, let's see how this all plays out. I understand what you said before about Trump backing away. It's because he's got a peace deal going, and all of a sudden they're blowing up other countries. So, that would make me back away as well.
Well, and I have a warning, too, for folks. If you don't think things are about to get as serious as a heart attack if Israel keeps sabotaging peace and the straits stay closed, well, welcome to UN Agenda 2030, where you'll own nothing, you won't be happy, and you will eat the bugs.
It looks like we might now actually be approaching the moment of truth. The moment where we find out if our rulers would rather avoid an entire economic collapse or if they would prefer to continue to send arms to Israel. Just days after the M.O.U. being signed, Iran has reclosed the Strait of Hormuz thanks to Israel's bombing in Lebanon. This is coming after Donald Trump himself said on live television that the United States had maybe 4 weeks left of oil. That 4-week time frame is why the U.S. basically completely and utterly surrendered to Iran. We signed a deal under worse terms than I even thought was possible. But with Iran closing the strait, they are making it clear that yes, Israel is tied to this deal inherently. Iran is stating that they know that Israel is only able to wage the wars that they wage because of U.S. support. They are stating clearly that no longer is it enough for us to just say that we're going to talk to Israel, that we're going to ask them politely to stop their genocide, which makes the situation abundantly clear. We have 4 weeks to rein Israel in truly and actually. As in, the good and honest threat of cutting Israel off must finally be used if the U.S. wants to avoid a major economic collapse. And what is terrifying as a citizen of the U.S. is I don't know which they're going to choose. Because logic would dictate that the correct thing to do is to stop supporting Israel in order to save ourselves. But that logic has been true this entire fucking time. Our constant support of Israel has led to nothing but loss. We have given them billions upon billions of dollars, and all we have to show for it is a genocide and the loss of trust and respect on the world stage. And now we are staring down the barrel of a possible total economic collapse because of Israel. But that was always going to be the case. Sooner or later, that was always the way this ends. But now we're here. We're at the moment. And it's time to find out what country our rulers care about more. The United States or Israel.
You know, he's not being hyperbolic, Sam. I mean, have you seen the man on the streeters with journalists, citizen journalists, typically, because the mainstream horror media, you know, as we recounted at the top of the show, they won't tell the truth about Fauci. They certainly won't tell the truth about Israel or what Ben-Gvir is saying about putting Palestinian prisoners to death, all 9,000 of them. I got to say, man, Israel is now obviously the enemy of peace and I think economic prosperity in the United States. And it's high time we, the people, start screaming from the rooftops that we're not going to put up with this, Sam.
Well, Sean, first of all, I do agree with you. I think that, the people need to rise up. But, what I'm really not certain of is a total economic collapse, right? You're always going to have ups and downs. I mean, I'm kind of old, so I remember when but interest rates were 15 or 20% back in was it the 70s with
Paul
Volcker?
Yeah.
No, but the peanut guy.
Yeah,
so
Jimmy Carter. But yeah, back in Paul Volcker's day, they could raise interest rates to 17, 18% without absolutely decimating the economy. Right now, if the bond rates keep going up and the interest payments on the dollar and the interest payments on the debt keep going up, well, pretty soon we can't pay the interest on the debt. And we're almost at that breaking point now, Sam.
Well, you got to wonder when that's going to actually happen, because I've been hearing about this for years. And for some reason, everything that they talk about, I'm talking about from 20, 30 years ago, we need to fix Social Security, we need to fix health, and nothing ever gets fixed, right? And we need to pay down the deficit. It just keeps getting bigger. So, I formed a conclusion, like he said, he called them our leaders. Well, that's what they call themselves. The reality is they're supposed to be our representatives, and none of them represent us. As far as I'm concerned, pretty much all of Washington is a criminal organization. And they work for themselves, and it's whoever's paying them the most money. As I always say, we have the best Congress money can buy. I mean, when you look at somebody like AOC, would you hire her for anything? Would you?
Maybe as a bartender or a waitress, a server, maybe as a flight attendant. Well, you know what, though, man? In fairness, at least she comes across as somebody who can string a sentence together, sort of, unlike Nancy Pelosi, unlike that treacherous, what is that character's name down in Florida? The Zionist, what is his name? There's a congressman in Florida whose name escapes me that is a real piece of human filth. Zionist through and through, Israel through and through. Israel first. I think that's the point the author was trying to make. That's the point the gentleman was trying to make in that previous clip, Sam. Yeah. In my point is, these man on the streeters, they will ask these Congress critters, do you put America first or Israel first? And they walk away. They won't answer the question, Sam.
They can't answer the question. I mean, basically, they're just, if you're talking about Republicans, they're just sitting there waiting for Trump to be gone. They don't know what to do. They have clients, and those clients pay them money. And so they're doing the bidding for their clients. I mean, look, Sean, I get it. I'm sick of the whole damn thing. I've been watching this, and years ago, you used to say, well, these guys really know, even though it doesn't make sense, that's because we're not insiders. Now we know the reason it doesn't make sense is because it's not supposed to. It doesn't make sense. So, I'm all for change. I think something has to be done. When you have somebody like Fauci and you have Tulsi Gabbard come out in her last day, I'm sure you listened to that 5-minute presentation where she said she's going to be releasing all this information. So all of these are crimes against humanity, right? Is there going to be something that happens, Sean? Do you have any answer for that? Because this is what's bothering America, is the fact that none of these people are held accountable for anything.
Well, that's right. Fauci walks. This is my point, though, Sam. And as I've been saying, it's nice to see Trump finally, grow a spine and push back on Bibi Netanyahu and Israel a little bit here. But I've been saying for a long time, under the Trump administration, what have we gotten? Well, with the Republicans, we don't get the SAVE Act, right? We're not going to do that for the people voted for it, but we're not going to do that. We don't get a real investigation of who assassinated Charlie Kirk in broad daylight. We don't get a real investigation about what actually happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. We don't get a real investigation regarding the Epstein clients and their names. All we get is cover up after cover up after cover up. And to add injury to insult or insult to injury, Israel first at every single turn. And here's the thing. I want to remind people about Israel first, our bestest buddy ever. Again, Mike Adams saying they engineered the original 9/11, which they did. Now they want a sequel. Listen to this. So Ben Sabti, evidently he wrote on X, maybe USA needs another Pearl Harbor or 9/11 to remember who is the enemy and who is the friend. And then I think he went back and changed it, saying, good luck for the USA to handle Iran and its terrorists, which I think is a little bit more cloaked way of saying that when there is another terror attack, well, the mainstream horror media will immediately blame Iran and look the other way to any evidence that suggests Israel might be involved, as they appear to be involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination. So if there's good news, Sam, it's that people are waking up, and people like Sean Ryan, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, people with huge, huge platforms are discussing this issue. It's about time.
Yeah, well, listen, I completely agree. I mean, I think that the beauty of the internet, it allows light to be shed in places that you could never get it before. So this is a good thing.
All right, we are going to talk about the Mockingbird mainstream horror media in just 1 second, because why wouldn't we? If you want the real news, come to SGT Report or yournews.com. But just in the interest of laying bare those who want war at any cost, no matter what the cost, even if it means your son's boots on the ground in Iran and some future quagmire nightmare from the pits of hell. Here's Mark Levin on the poor little abused state of Israel.
I want to say to people in and out of the administration, stop trashing, smearing, bullying the little state of Israel. Stop cozying up to and telling us that the enemy regime in Iran is now more rational, more moderate, and a regime that we can deal with. When just a few months ago they slaughtered 50,000 people, they're still hanging young people today. And if they had a nuclear missile today, they'd fire it into our country as sure as I'm alive. I don't know what's going on, but if people think they can bully a little country, a people that have existed 4,000 years.
Okay, ... Oh, here we go, right? Rothschild's Israel, the poor little country that could. Sam Anthony, I'm glad people are finally talking about this issue. And I know that you've noted in a couple of emails to me about the mainstream media, not only are they losing credibility, they're losing their audience in droves. What just happened at BBC?
550 people were just laid off a few days ago. There's more coming. Think about this. So this whole thing is just imploding. And, the reason is because there's alternative outlets, right? You are part of new media, but you broadcast on Rumble. You used to broadcast on YouTube, but YouTube became woke and kicked you off, and Rumble filled that void. But the point is now people have options, and the money goes where the people are. And the younger generation does not consume news the way my generation did. They get all their stuff online. So it's all going to collapse, Sean. I've been saying it forever. Give it another 4 or 5 years, and you'll be lucky to see a network television station around that's not sports.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, when I mentioned NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, I neglected to mention that mercenary Brandy Zadrozny, who does nothing but hit pieces against truth tellers, vaccine deniers, and those who might dare question official stories. We've got another news item regarding the local news. Sam, the local news always cracks me up when I see it. Even in my area, I live in a big metropolitan area, so this is one of the bigger, better presented news, local news media outlets. We've got 3 major stations. But honestly, the way they dice and slice their news is so amusing. You get about 6, 7 minutes on weather. You get 7, 8 minutes on sports. Maybe you get a couple of local stories at the top, but the rest, all of the rest of the stories are pulled off the AP Wire feed or, a Reuters or the Reuters feed. And who owns AP and Reuters? Rothschild, the same people that pretty much own and control Israel. Hate to tell you, folks.
Yeah, well, you're correct, Sean. And so remember, we would have never known it, but all these organizations were funded by USAID. Remember, they were getting billions of dollars. And when you used to say it, everybody said, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. How are they doing this? Who's paying them to do this? Now we find out that the taxpayer money was going for them to lie to us. Disgusting.
Yeah, and they deserve to lose their audiences because even the local news mockingbirds where I live, well, boy, was I ticked off at them during the pandemic lockdowns because they weren't telling the truth. Even then, they weren't telling the truth about what was happening in the lockdowns. People that were labeled COVID patients were being locked away from their families, put on ventilators, given remdesivir, and murdered. They weren't talking about it. So again, even in areas like where we live, these local mockingbird pundits, these talking heads, these newsreaders, they probably make a couple $100,000 a year to do nothing other than just read Reuters and AP BS, man. Meanwhile, traditional publishers are moving toward the creator model. According to Reuters itself, 76% of news publishers plan to push reporters to become platform personalities. What are they talking about? Influencers? Nobody's going to trust a Mockingbird influencer. Case in point, Brandy Zadrozny.
Yeah, so I saw that, Sean. That's why I sent it to you, because I'm blown away that they're just starting to figure this stuff out. What they haven't figured out is nothing local works on the internet, but what they're trying to do is find branded people and bring them on, and they're trying to make a citizen-powered press. The problem is you can't do it on a local level. It's like creating an eBay for Chicago or Miami. It's never going to work. eBay will run right over the top of you. But the point is, even the media is starting to understand that you need citizen reporting. This is the old guard is starting to understand this. So I find it comical that, I've been doing this for years and all of a sudden now the whole world's coming my way, but even the media is trying to figure it out, right?
Yeah, well, it's sink or swim for the mainstream horror media at this point. And by the way, let me also paint the picture. Like, when I talk about Israel so often here in today's report, it's because it is the elephant in the room. And when you think of people like Barry Weiss or Oracle's Larry Ellison, who now controls the platforms where he's put Barry Weiss in charge at 60 Minutes at CBS quote unquote news, it's pathetic. She's hated within, even by the mockingbirds that have worked there for years. So many of these people have done decent work, I guess, but they're also mockingbirds who cloak the 100% truth, and even they despise Barry Weiss. I'm telling you, man, between Ellison's control of TikTok, his control of CBS quote-unquote news, his control of, I think, Rolling Stone, I mean, this guy has his tentacles in everything. And guess what? Guess what he and Barry Weiss have in common? What? They're both Israel firsters, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that surprising? Isn't that surprising? Yeah, look, Sean, the good news is that the legacy media's collapse is going to end up benefiting humanity, right? This is where I always explain it. It's all going to a creator-based model with a citizen-powered press, and you won't be able to stop the people. You will not be able to do it. So like I always tell people say to me, well, do you fact check anything? I say, no. How could I possibly fact check something? How could I possibly know about a city council meeting happening in your town? How can I know what happened? So you have to trust that the journalists, the boots on the ground, are telling the truth. But if they don't, the public will let you know. So this is where everything is going, a citizen journalist based platform. Even the mainstream media on local levels is trying to incorporate that into what they're doing. But it's still, at the end of the day, Sean, whoever the CBS or ABC or NBC affiliate is in your market, go to one of their websites and see if they have a button that says submit your news there. You won't find it. because they're not interested in your opinion. They're interested in controlling the information that comes out.
Yeah, well, so much so that Google and YouTube deplatformed hundreds and hundreds of news providers, quote unquote journalists like me, on October 15th, 2020, on the back, wait for it, on the back of a Media Matters for America hit piece. And who controls Media Matters for America? The Zionist entity. Are we starting to string it together, guys? A little thing called pattern recognition. I'm pretty good at it. And so are others in the space who have woken up to this matrix we find ourselves in. Meanwhile, we're going to play this clip from Lindsey Graham, hot off the presses on Sunday, the 21st of June. This delusional Zionist pedophile, allegedly, has got so much to say. You know why? Because he doesn't have children of his own. He would never put his sons on the ground in Iran because he's so gay he doesn't have sons, allegedly. Health Ranger, Mike Adams, once again, Lindsey Graham is completely delusional.
Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail. What happens next? I spent 4.5 hours with President Trump Friday. Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we will obliterate them. So to all the people listening, if this diplomatic effort fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. We're going to run it. We're going to try to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords to end the Arab-Israeli conflict in 2026. And if Iran continues to attack Israel and Lebanon, the new policy will be we'll hit Iran. So to the Iranians, if you're listening, when you use Hezbollah to attack Israel, I think the new policy will be we will attack Iran.
Okay, and Health Ranger goes on to explain, if this was possible, Trump would have already done it, folks. Our Navy has been absolutely exposed as sort of a dinosaur that it is with the drones versus our, $1 million missiles. It's just, guys, honestly, and let me just say this, Sam Anthony, when it comes to Face the Nation and the Mockingbird mainstream media news, isn't it insane how abusive this kind of information is to the boomers? Because the only people watching this garbage, Sam, are the boomers.
That's it. Nobody else.
It's an abusive relationship the boomers are in with their own CIA mainstream media, but they don't even know it. You'd sooner tell them that they're watching an act of fiction. You'd sooner tell them that the Mossad has produced this production for them to consume. You'd sooner tell them the truth about Plato's cave and the shadows on the wall than get them to understand that they're absolutely duped. They've been brainwashed. Look at the Thomas Massey election down in Kentucky. The only people that voted for the Zionist opponent were the boomers.
Yeah, and Sean, it's not their fault. Okay, so my neighbors that live next door to me and are in, I think they're 83, 84 years old. They don't get on the internet. So all the stuff you're talking about or all the alternative media is talking about, they don't ever see. So when I talk to them, and believe me when I tell you, these would be the old school Democrats, but they are not convinced that CNN and ABC and NBC are lying to them. They think they're telling them the truth. So it doesn't matter what I say when I tell them something that I've heard or that are news that's alternative news. They're like, where are you getting this information? Because they're not getting it. And that's just the way it is. The good news is the legacy media is not going to survive. I mean, the average person watching cable news is in their 70s, Sean. And I don't need to tell you how, what the average age of people are in the United States, but I think women are roughly 80, men are 78 or something like that. Let's just say it's 80 years old. So there's not a lot of time here. This is where I keep saying mainstream media is going to eventually go away, and it will be replaced with creator-based models. And so that's where you have something like YouTube, which has 61 million channels. Sean, last month, YouTube had over 3 billion visitors. It's almost half the planet, for God's sake, right? And then you take a smaller platform like Rumble, which has 250,000 creators. That platform had almost 50 million people on it. And then you take something like me, which I have over 6,000 creators. I think the number's around 6,030 people. and last month's visitors was 1,670,000 people. I think that's up almost a quarter million or 230,000 from the month before. So it's the creator-based models that drive the audience. And the good news is, as the legacy media goes away, and as we build our platform to where you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of content creators, this will be the place where people go for news. And the good news is, most of the mainstream people, the mainstream media people, are not going to survive this. It's going to be somebody like your neighbor who signs up for journalism on our platform to become a citizen journalist and reports the news, but it's somebody in the community that you already know and trust. That's the beauty of this. So the hold that the mainstream media has had on the U.S. Through the 6 institutions that control it, and that's why you see the videos from Sinclair Broadcasting where you have the 50 TV saying the same thing at the same time. All of that is going to completely be decentralized. So we decentralize the news business and we democratize who gets to say it. This is good for the American people and for the world, because now stories that would have never came to light anywhere will all of a sudden start appearing. And you know as well as I do, anytime you shed light on corruption, it's a good thing.
Well, boy, from your lips to God's ears, I wish the light of truth would be shined on all corruption from East Coast to West, from sea to shining sea, because it does seem like our country has fallen into the hands of, well, the boogeymen, the monsters, the bad guys in the country. It seems like we're in receivership. And I would just like to share one more thing before we show the website, Your News, and tell people how they can get involved. For those who think that this AI bubble will just go on forever and SpaceX should be a $3 trillion company when it's losing money, I would call attention to Jordan's channel over here. I posted at the Phaser, the Daily Gold. This guy is very, very smart, and my former webmaster, Stefan, turned me on to him. And I went out to dinner, my wife and I did last night with our friends. Yes, the same boomer neighbor friends I've talked about a lot. We like them very much. And maybe they're starting to come around a little bit on some of these subjects. But we talked about gold specifically because my boomer friend thinks this paradigm under which we toil will just sort of continue forever. Stock markets only go up. And I said, you know what? I really think gold is going to bottom in mid-July. And a lot of my knowledge on that comes from Jordan's analysis. Silver as well. And I think this AI bubble may implode in a way very similar to what we saw during the internet bubble meltdown in 2000, 2001. And one other through line I want to point out, guys, when Warren Buffett is sitting on $400 billion in cash, as he is right now, I would take that very seriously if I were you. Not investment advice, just an observation, a little bit of pattern recognition. Sam, how do people get involved specifically with Your News, either as a journalist, boots on the ground journalist, or as an investor?
If somebody's interested in becoming a local citizen reporter and covering local news in the area, you go to yournews.com. You scroll down to the bottom of the page. Well, that's our equity crowdfund, but you scroll down to the bottom of the page and you click on Become a Citizen Journalist, and there's a few videos you could watch and you fill out an application. If somebody's interested in investing, we're doing something called an equity crowdfund. So, Sean, I am not traditionally, companies like mine will go through Silicon Valley and they'll raise investment capital from institutional players. As your audience probably knows, the reason we didn't do that is because it would be making the same mistake that we're in right now, right? If we sell out to all the institutions. So what we decided to do was do it backwards. Normally, the institutions come in, they build up your Twitters and your Googles and your eBays, and they scale them up, and then they bring them to Wall Street, and that's when you could get involved. We're doing it the opposite. We're doing something called an equity crowdfund, which means that everybody can participate, not just the 1%, the accredited investors. But there's limits to what you could invest. The minimum investment is $3. We switched equity crowdfunds and we're doing a small number. We completed what we were doing on Issuance Express. We're now doing a small round on this one at the same price. And the next round's going to be at a higher number. Not sure what that's going to be yet, but they could go to Your News, go to the bottom and click on Invest. You could watch the video that I put out. And then there's a whole piece on there that explains the whole model. And if you think this is a good idea, guys, I have over 6,000 news reporters. Now, Sean, when I came on your show, I had less than 1,000. So today we have 6,000 creators. And the creator models, Wall Street already values them. Just take a look at Rumble. You could look at the market cap of Rumble. They have 250,000 creators, and you divide the creator base into that, and that'll give you the number per creator. Currently, their market cap is $2.5 billion. They have 250,000 creators, so it's about 10,000 a creator. So we have from our product, there's 20,000 cities. So I believe we have room to have about 50 people a city, which would be max capacity, about 1 million for just the United States. But like every other tech giant, this thing could go global. We can open this, like the next country I open is going to be Canada. We could open Australia, the UK. So I envision the next mainstream media being a global media giant by zip code, with a social component where the public can interact and share in the narrative, along with a monetization model where creators could submit their work freely without censorship and get paid for it, and a self-service ad platform where somebody could buy an ad targeted around the content that's relevant to their product, as granular as one zip code and everywhere in between. So this is something that all tech giants already do. We already do it. Our niche is local news. That's the void we fill, is the local news part. And the void we fill would be the collapse of the legacy media. So as we scale this up, my guess is by the time you hit 50,000 creators, you're a behemoth, right? I mean, you really are, Sean. I'm just going to let you know that. We'll be having this conversation when we're there. But my guess is somewhere between 50 and 100,000 creators that will look to take this public.
All right. Well, if you guys want to be a part of it, the links are below. Do your own due diligence. Never go all in on any investment, not even gold, not even silver in physical form, although I wade pretty deeply into that prior patch, I will confess, but that's because I do believe what's coming is not going to be pretty, folks. 39 trillion in debt and counting, and we will continue to recount the truth about all of these issues in future broadcasts. The links are below, whether or not you guys want to be an investor or a journalist or both. Our guest has been Sam Anthony. Thank you, Sam.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate being on the show, Sean, and you have yourself a great Father's Day.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Back at you. And everybody listening, back at all of you, all you dads out there. I hope you do have a restful Father's Day. I told my kids and my wife, all I want, my wife asks, what do you want as a gift? I said, I don't need any material goods. I just want peace. Peace in my family, peace in my country, peace on earth. And yes, I know that's pie in the sky, but it's truly all I want and all I pray for. Frankly, I think it's all we should all pray for is peace on earth. Let it be so. Friends, I'll remind you every single day for real news 24/7. Check us out to get it at sgtreport.com, thephaser.com, and thelibertymill.com. And until next time, may God the Creator continue to bless you and yours. Bye-bye.
Flint's tap water was laced with dangerous levels of lead.
New synthetic chemicals that are created every hour.
Nearly half of the U.S. population lives in areas with unhealthy levels of air.
Our environment is toxic.
So I wanted to verify what are the top environmental medicine clinics doing about these issues. Is there hope?